So today I want to give you some tips for when you want to sketch out your character. So this is basically my process and I want to share it with you so it is a bit easier for you to do this. Now, the first thing I like to do is to write down my character. So try to have a character sheet. This doesn't need to be very organized, but writing down your character will help you a lot into visualizing how your character looks. At least it is very helpful for me. So hopefully it will be helpful for you as well. So what do you want to have in this character sheet? The first thing you want to have is who. We have here basically the 3Ws, what I like to call the 3Ws. So the first question you want to ask is who? Who is your character? What is their name? Now the name can be a bit hard. You can leave this one maybe even for when you finally have your character drawn, but if you already have an idea of a name, write it down. If you have more than one name, for example, I don't know, I'm just going to shoot here some names. Millie, Rose, I don't know, I'm just saying random names. But if you have more than one name idea, do write it down. It can be very helpful for you, and as you develop your character, maybe none of those will work, or one of them you'll see that it is the right choice for your character. So write down the name if you do have some ideas. If not, you can leave it for afterwards. Their age. Now again, you don't need a specific number, but it is very useful to know if they're a child, if they're teens, if they are an adult, or even old. Because obviously, depending on what you choose here, they will look very different. They'll look, if it's a child, they'll be tinier, they will be maybe rounder even, they'll be cuter. If they're a teen, it's going to be a bit bigger. So if you're creating a character that is old with a very advanced age, you're going to have wrinkles, which is totally opposite of drawing a child or a teen. So this is very important, at least deciding if they're a child, a teen, or an adult, and at which point of their lives they are. Then finally the gender, if they're a boy, if they're a girl, if there's something in between, if they're neither, whatever you want. And finally their job. So for example, in this case, I'm drawing a Viking. She's going to be a Viking lady, so let's put female. And well, Viking is not really a job, right? I want to make a Viking warrior, so I'm going to put here warrior, and this is enough for now. Of course, the job can be whatever you want. Maybe they work at a supermarket, maybe they're a warrior, maybe they're a king, I don't know. The job can be a lot of things, just the kind of occupation they have. So instead of job, you can write occupation, maybe it makes a bit more sense for you. Okay, so you have who is your character, you already know who they are. So let's go to the next W, which is what. For example, the what's, maybe they won't be used when drawing your character or when sketching your characters, but it still helps giving you an idea of how your character looks. And for example, okay, let's see my character. She likes spears, let's say that. So maybe I will draw her with a spear, right? Because it makes sense. She prefers to use a spear instead of a sword, a hammer, an axe. So the likes here is going to be very important on how I'm going to draw my character, or what kind of accessories I'm going to add in my character. So writing down the likes, the dislikes, what are their fears, and even their goals. This is going to be very helpful because some of these will give you a hint or even an extra something to your character. You might add this as accessories, as details in their clothing, whatever you want. Then we have my third W, which is where. Now, where is really important. It might not look right now, but it is, because depending on where they are, or even want to go or have been, maybe their outfits will be different. So for example, I'm going to say that she's a Scandinavian, right? She's a Viking. Scandinavia. So it's more of a fantasy world, or maybe even our own world, but many years ago. Let's put here Viking. Alright, so with this hint here, she lives in the cold, right? So I might want to draw her with some warmer clothing, maybe capes, a very fuzzy cape. It really depends on where your character is, especially right now, to know what kind of outfit you want to draw. So let's say that your character lives in an island, they live by the coast, so that means that they live in a warmer place, right? So you might want to go for shorts or bathing suits, t-shirts, tops, crop tops. But yes, the point here is that knowing where your character lives, especially right now, is going to be very important into choosing their outfit. Then finally, you have an extra thing, which is some notes. So if there's something else you want to add to your character that is not in any of these questions, you can add here in your notes. So for example, backstory, other personality traits that you might think it's important to know and to write down, and any kind of experience that is important to your character and that will translate into their drawings. So write down your character a little bit. It doesn't need to be a very organized character sheet. Sometimes I just write keywords on my sketchbook, for example, along with some sketches as I go. So it doesn't need to be super organized, but it is really helpful to write down your character. The next tip is to have a mood board. So if you wrote down your character, then maybe the next step is to find some references of your character. So most of the times what I do is I go over to Pinterest, I write down some keyword of the thing that I'm looking for. So for example, as I said, I want to draw a Viking warrior, right? So let's write that down. And there we go, we have here lots of examples. And lucky for me, when I look for a Viking warrior, I will even have mostly females here, which is really cool because that's what I want, right? So I will see here lots and lots of images that can help me visualize my character a little bit better. It will give me some ideas. So as you see here, I have here a board. You can make a board on Pinterest. As you see, I don't have a name for my character yet. She's just called Viking here. And I have here some images that will help me visualize my character a little bit better. I think it's always very useful to have a mood board. You can either make it on Pinterest, you can just open a file on your computer like I did here with some reference images, something that will help inspire you into drawing your character. You also can just print out some images, cut them and make a traditional mood board. Maybe you have a board in your wall and you can use that. However feels better for you, but it is very helpful to have some references to create your character. And as you can see, I actually even have some color palettes already here. So why do I do this? Basically, when I'm creating my characters, when I'm finding inspiration, I like to have already an idea of a color palette that I might want to use in my characters. Maybe 1, 2, sometimes even more. I don't like to have a lot of them because then it's a bit confusing, but having an idea what kind of colors you want to use might be very useful. So do try to look for some colors as well. That can be helpful for sketching out your character. Now we have our character, we wrote our character, we have a mood board, and the next thing I like to do is to look up for poses. So I have here some images. Go look for them. You can look for them in Pinterest. You have photo websites, stock photo websites like Unsplash, Pixabay. Those can be very helpful for finding ideas or poses. What else? You have a lot of artists, for example, Senshi Stock. She has lots of stock photos of poses, so if you want something very actionable, she's great. She has a page on DeviantArt. Just look for everything she has and you might find things that you think are appropriate to your character, so I really recommend it. And find some, you don't need a lot of them. This is just for you to start getting a feeling of your character. So once you find some references, it's time to start sketching them out. So this doesn't need to be very detailed, but a feeling of the pose so you can start creating your character. You're already sketching your character right here. Just sketch them out. It can be just a silhouette, nothing too detailed, just having a feel of the characters or the pose, what kind of pose you want your character to have. You can use lines. Sometimes I think that using the silhouette can be a bit more useful because you're not focusing on details, you're just getting the shape of the character. If you do have an idea of what kind of pose you want to draw, feel free to do those as well, not just from reference, but just make very quick and simple drawings. They don't need to be perfect. For example, I want to draw here one. As you can see, I'm being very loose. I'm not worrying a lot if I'm drawing everything super correctly. I just want to have an idea of the pose. So it's all very loose. So take some time to just do some silhouettes. And then when you feel like you got something that you like, then you can just pick the one that you like the most. For example, I want this one. Let's pick it up here. It's not a complete pose, but it will help me either way. Once you choose the pose you want to draw for your character, you think it's the best one, you can start choosing or sketching other things like their looks, their actual looks, right? You can start picking the outfit, trying out different outfits. Even for the outfits, it's very useful to look for some references. So maybe the references that you looked at the beginning, the ones that you use for your mood board can be very helpful here. So what kind of outfit would I want for a Viking? So the first thing I want is, this is a spear, right? We talked about that she likes spears. Then, I don't know, does she have braids going down her hair? What kind of outfits do I want? Does she have some armor? And I want her to have the armor there. Some shoulder pads. Armor goes this way, and then she has high boots. Random things like this until you find an outfit that you like. Just have some fun, just sketch things. You already have the pose, so just draw that same pose over and over until you find the outfit you really like and the looks you really like. There's a lot of things that you want to decide, like the hairstyle, the face, how the face is, how tall is your character, things like that. So this is my process of sketching characters' ideas. As you can see, I don't go for the drawing part right away. I try to think about my character first, write down some ideas. And for me, that's part of the sketching. For me, it's part of sketching my character ideas because it is as important as the final drawing, as drawing them. I like to know my characters before drawing them. So this is basically my process. I hope this was helpful for you, and feel free to share with me your process or your tips on how to sketch new characters in the comment section. And I hope you enjoyed it, and like, subscribe for you to see more videos like this, and as always, keep on drawing.